you have some ideas? Come on, why don't you come up and answer some questions with me? You have some ideas on how you'd merge all these metrics? And one of the questions I always ask is, why? And I know you're doing a lot with Twitter analytics, and so I figured maybe this was a fun one for you.
Yeah, I think there's a natural tendency to want to bring these multiple sources of data together. Avinash this morning showed us Swix, which is kind of it's cool for what it is. But the focus from the vendors lately has been about how can we bring in more stuff. WebTrends has a big effort for Facebook analytics, and they're focusing on that, and Omniture and Core and others are. There's a natural tendency to want to understand our ecosystem and all the places that we advertise and all the places that we spend money. Can you merge metrics from Twitter and Facebook? Absolutely. Absolutely. Twitalizer, this toy that I've built with some friends of mine to measure a lot of aspects of Twitter, we integrate it with Google Analytics. You can do it, but why? What decision are you going to make? How are you going to change? And that's the critical piece. John Lovett, standing back there, John Lovett and I just did a piece with Charlene Lee, who wrote Groundswell, Forrester researcher, and Jeremiah Aoyang. Mm-hmm. And we established a framework for measuring social that says don't just measure social to measure social, measure social with a specific set of key performance indicators and goals in mind. And so if you go to Web Analytics Demystified, this is such a great piece of work. It's right on our homepage. But you have to have that why. Why do you want to do this? So why do you want to measure Twitter and Facebook to increase SEO? I think you're right. I think the SEO spammer guys got your...
Yeah, they got up there really quickly. And it's interesting, the top questions here are SEO. So I'm going to skip a couple, but here's one of my favorite ones. How do you segment website visitors when looking for trends in the analytics? I think this is a great question. So I actually have a very easy way to do this. Start where the money is. Okay, that's what motivate people. So start by the source, right? If where you're working from, they're spending majority of their money is in pay-per-click, go in there. Once you're in there, now you segment again. Start segmenting by intent. People early stage in the buying process, late in the buying process, somewhere in between the buying process. Start figuring out whether it's your broad matches, just start cutting things and start looking to see where you can find natural changes. So you can tweak things. So follow the money. That's always been my rule in starting segmentation.
Well, I think your work on personas, I mean, the seminal work on personas, it's like you don't have to follow the money. You don't have to wonder about the segments. Just ask the business. The business knows what segments they want you to track. They know exactly what they're looking for. Ask the business. It's just sometimes we forget to ask our business partners.
Let's keep scrolling down because I see it didn't sort it in popular order for some reason. So if we can scroll down, let's see. My favorite question, though, still, I know it's on the bottom here. How did I go 15 years without killing any clients? Does anyone want to know? Is anyone else curious about that one? No one ever said I didn't.
I was going to say.
I'm from Brooklyn. What do you expect? No, anyway.
Oh.
We get people to do it for us. No. No, clients can definitely be challenging. There's no question. You start looking for what are successful clients, and one of the things is you start understanding what their corporate metabolisms are. One of the key things that we've always found, and so if you're a job seeker, and here's one of those quick things, if you're going ahead and you're looking for an organization and it takes 6 weeks to hire you, don't get hired. If it takes 6 weeks to make a corporate hiring decision, they've got a slow metabolism. They're not going to work for you. People who make quick decisions, organizations that make quick decisions, are most likely going to be successful in optimization. Those that aren't.
I had an HR person that I work with from time to time call me and complain about a candidate that I had sent her way. She said, this candidate spent more time asking me about our company and our processes than we got to ask them. And I said, you would have been so lucky to get that person. That's the analytical mindset, right? When I care more about your business and I want to know that I'm going to be successful working with you. And 6 weeks, that ain't it.
I mean, I know my cousin just went through a company where it took him 27 interviews.
Is that the CIA?
No.
Jeez.
Here's my favorite. It's not one of the most popular, but this is one of those funny ones. What one thing do people still overlook or forget to set up? Goals. Period. They just 80% of almost all analytics, implementations I've ever seen, people forgot to set up what their goals are. No one said, okay, well, what are we trying to achieve?
Governance models. I see people going in and saying, we have technology, we have people process, right? We have all the pieces of the puzzle. We just don't know how we're going to put that puzzle together, and we're not going to carve out time to put that puzzle together. I see that get left out a lot.
Yeah, and then to top on that is, if you've got metrics, if you don't have a plan on what to do once you have that metric, right? If it goes up, it goes down, then you've also failed, right? You need to plan on what you're going to do with that. Oh, here's
some of these are for Matt Cutts. My quality score is
well,
dropped.
yeah, that's an AdWords. This is an interesting one. My quality scores dropped from 7 and 8s to 2 3s and 4s. What did I do wrong, and how can I get back to 7 8 and stay there? So we'll do a little PPC stuff. So one of the interesting things is, how do I say this politically correct? Google's tinkered their algorithm for quality score and AdWords in the last couple of months. So things have definitely changed. If you haven't noticed, things are becoming a little bit more, maybe we should get Matt the Cutts in there, a little more spammy, to say the least. PPC optimization is harder work, actually, than website optimization. There are more moving parts in there, actually. What most people think is a simple 95-character ad system, there's so much complexity behind it that if you're not constantly tweaking keywords and mining them and cleaning them up and making sure your ad groups are real tight and that you've got synchronization from understanding intent to the keywords, to the ad group, to the ad copy, to the landing page, your quality score is just going to drop, period. So it's a constant mining and refining on that one.
That's why I like web analytics is hard, but it's not nearly as hard as PPC optimization.
No, definitely. Here's one I know that we'll have fun with. Attribution. One, does it matter?
Yes.
First touch point, multiple touch points, last click, and why one should or shouldn't over-obsess with it. What's the end goal?
One of the greatest consultants I've ever known said, "It depends."
He taught us well, didn't he?
He taught us well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it comes back to that same question, right? What's the governance? In other words, if you can actually do something with the data, that's great. Also realize the data is always going to be flawed because you can't track everything, right? I mean, I know, we're certainly seeing better information about pass-through and view-through conversions and stuff like that. But you know what? You don't know whether someone heard something at a conference, whether they heard, it's so complex, you're never going to get a full picture. So, yeah, it's important, but also take it with a grain of salt. It's always relative, and that's just something you've got to keep in mind. Yeah. If we can scroll down a little bit more, please speak to, and this one's for you, Eric, please speak on how to create a complete picture analytic setup from email acquisition, email clicks and opens, website views, referrals, e-com transactions, and how to create marketing segments to target the best customers sooner in their life cycle. Jim, when do we have the next conference?
I was going to say just hire web analytics demystified.
I was going to, yeah, David's in Portland, so I'll just call him.
Okay. Just go hang out and a couple beers.
Yeah, we'll get a couple.
Yeah. This is actually, I love this survey. I know I've tweeted this several times. From a December 2007 survey from Internet Retailer, 76.7% of retailers surveyed don't test. Is it more because of hippos? Or because of people not knowing how to test or any other variables? Have you seen some progress lately? So, have I seen some progress? Slight. Not much. I think a lot of people get burnt out on testing. They're testing a lot of the wrong things. They're still doing what I call that slice and dice optimization, wasting a lot of resources instead of just trying to narrow down, come up with a little bit better creative, just having a better plan for it. It is hippos. Certainly, they don't stand in the way. But the number one factor that affects this is they just haven't put the budget and resources to it. There's very few organizations that you can find that say, oh, yeah, we have budget for testing and optimization. Okay, it's one of the first things to get cut out, even though it's a big leverage point. So I think that's really the biggest thing I've seen over the years.
Yeah, here, watch me screw up Kim King's attribution model. Go to sitespec.com, navigate around, look for 10 tips for testing success. I wrote a white paper with SiteSpec.
White paper.
They're a technology vendor. I said, I'm going to say it's not about the technology. They say it's okay. We want our customers to be successful. There's a lot involved in testing. And people do roll in. They go get Test and Target or SiteSpec or WideMile, or there's so many solutions now, and they don't think about what all is involved. I definitely think the numbers are better than 76%.
Yeah,
I know a lot more retailers.
But it's still not
testing
it's
today.
Still not widely accepted, but it comes back to my core philosophy, which has always been, and it comes back to the people and process issue. Get good at free, then pay for a solution. If you can't figure out how to constantly do free, it's like, you know what? I never paid for a gym membership because I figured, you know what? It's going to be a waste of money if I don't actually use it. So I walked. I had a bicycle, so I figured I'd use that. Whatever I could do, I carry medical tubes. I went cheap and easy just to get the dedication and the metabolism to keep doing this. Then I'll worry about paying and doing more. So you kind of got to do the same thing organizationally to make this work. Do we have any time for more questions? We can come back up and look for any others here. Can we scroll up again? Because I think there was one or two more that we skipped from here.
We could take them from the audience.
And we'll take some from
That's old school.
Oh, there's a good one here, though. How critical is video marketing essential to success in the online marketing industry? Very critical, but it's not the total bomb. Not everybody wants to sit through 5, 3, 2-minute video. Certainly, Google's giving it priority in their search results, so you definitely want to have it. YouTube is the number 2 search engine out there after Google. So definitely it's important, but there are certain personas, pretty competitive types like me, I'm not going to sit through your 5-minute video. If I can't find it in the content and then maybe decide if I want to watch the video, it's not going to work. So have a balance between the two. I think there's one more question here. If we can just go up, and in the meantime, if you find somebody who has a good question, I'll keep looking.
I haven't killed any clients because I only work with people I like. Makes it easy. Is there any questions in the audience? Is there anything that anybody wants to ask Bryan? I want to know how he lost 100 pounds, but I don't want to ask him in front of 500 people. I'll ask him later.
Anybody want to know? I'll tell you some of the secrets.
Yeah?
Okay. Simplest secret I'll give you, because there's really probably only one major secret. Okay. Killer secret. Everyone make a fist. That's the size of your stomach. Shove more in there. It'll expand. It'll throw off your body's metabolism and just your whole chemistry. So when you eat protein, it doesn't shrink much. How much protein do you eat? About the size of your palm. Eat more than that, you've eaten too much. Start throwing in fruits, vegetables, no problem. You think about putting it in, will it blender? It shrinks down to nothing. You can have tons of it. It won't fill up your stomach. Now, anybody knows what happens when you eat starches and you put it with water? What does it do?
Expands.
Expands. Guess how much starch you can have? About yay big, because then it'll expand to blow up your stomach. Very simple secret. You start doing that to your portions, and by the way, it works great with kids because I did it with my daughter as well, and you start getting much better. And all you do is you eat lots of little meals, so your metabolism's constantly moving. Lots of little changes instead of lots of big, sitting down, long-term meals. And that's probably the biggest one. And the other one, get off the computer. That really was the first one. I just made a decision every day. I was going to take a half an hour first, and then became an hour, and I got off the computer and said, okay, I'm going to unwind, and I'm just going to relax myself, go for a walk, ride the bicycle, and it was a lot of biking that really did it. And when it wasn't nice outside, I rode the bicycle inside. That was it. Those are two main tricks.
So not prison?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.